There she goes.
Shit, yay. Okay, it's all yours, Sarah.
Thank you, Evie. Happy Wednesday, y'all. August 21st. If you know technology is awesome, like on Daily Spark this morning, when I talked for 5 minutes before pressing unmute, that was amazing. So, we roll with it and we re-record and we fix things when we need to. We have so much excellent content today. Let's start off welcoming Lauren Alvernaz to Team Keller Williams San Diego Metro. Lauren has joined us last week while we were away at Mega Camp. So, Lauren, if you're there, shout out in the chat. If not, when we see you around, everybody say, welcome, Lauren. So happy to have you. And there's that thing that happens where my screen becomes full screen. I don't know how to get it off, but I figured it out. Yay. We're going to jump right to celebrations because we have a full list of things today, and there's so much gratitude to go throughout. First and foremost, congratulations to Erica Stoddard, who just hit her cap. Erica is, I think, 7 months into her career with us at KW San Diego Metro, and she has achieved the illustrious 100%, which means for the rest of her year, she'll be at 100% commission on all the things she's closing. Congratulations, Erica. It is no small feat in year one to accomplish that big task. We are so happy for you and proud to be in business with you, and keep going. You're awesome. All right, training and events. We have a lot coming. Let's try not to do information overload and yet turn those ears on and let's listen. Dave Norberg, drop it in the chat if you're familiar with who Dave Norberg is. Give us some words or conversations there. Dave has agreed, volunteered. We've asked him. He's amazing. He's going to come in and teach for an hour and a half this Friday. Ashley, did you want to talk about Dave or shall I just handle it? Oh, maybe Ashley's recovering from COVID still. So Dave, if you guys don't know, he's been a huge player in San Diego real estate. He's going to handle mindset, database, lead gen you love. It was one of the common themes at Mega Camp was doing something you love will make you do it more. So I highly encourage agents at every level. You are going to come in for this session, 12 to 1:30 with Dave Norberg. You do not want to miss this, y'all. He ran, I don't have his exact numbers, ask him about this. I mean, he's closed so much business, tons and tons and tons of business. He's now an OP. He runs a huge, big life, and he's awesome.
So Joe asked, yes, he did sell his database, but it's not that he sold it for a couple million. He'll talk about that Friday. He sold it with an earnout, meaning he gets paid every deal that closes. And I don't know how many years, but I know since he relocated to Nevada, he's been making well over 6 figures a year just on referral fees. So yes, and that's what he wants to share with you guys because he still loves this business. He thought he would retire. He ended up getting his license in Nevada because he just couldn't leave it alone.
He can't help himself. Every single person will learn something from him. You do not want to miss this opportunity. I'm ready to take some 6 figures in for, retiring. That's awesome. You got to build it first though, right? So training and events continued. CJ came yesterday via Zoom and taught Google your business, Google your profile. Y'all, this is 3 sessions she's doing. So all 3 are on the screen right now. Evie will continue to share about them. The next masterclass is the road to digital dominance. The last one is get found everywhere. She's an excellent teacher. The feedback I had from yesterday was really great. Please, that's again for everybody. So I had one agent who was like, I already have Google My Business. Should I still go? She went and she was like, oh my gosh, this was great. I'm glad I went. You're learning more and going deeper, right? So whatever level you're in, you can't be strong enough on Google and with your internet presence. So welcome to those. Then we have August 28th, which is next Wednesday's meeting, will be a sponsored lunch from Hawthorne and Albatross. And that will be ahead of, I don't know if anybody thinks there's anything you want like broker feedback on in the business right now, or there's any rules that have changed lately that you're feeling like, hey, just want a gut check on what's going on. all kidding aside, Broker Bob will be in person next Wednesday in Mission Valley in person, going over the monthly risk management broker updates meeting. So come get fed and then dive on in, and no time like the present. All the changes are in effect. We're going. So do not miss that one. And now you guys have heard us talk about, I just got distracted because I saw Amy and Deb sitting together in the same box, and I didn't realize that was happening a minute ago. So I fully just got distracted. Hi, you guys. We have talked a lot about language of real estate conversations and Darren's awesome morning sessions that he runs. And the feedback from people who are attending is amazing. And what I realized is let's take a look together and let Darren come in here so you can see behind the curtain who is Darren and what is the session he's offering. So Darren, take it away with our demo if you would.
Absolutely. Can you hear me okay before we get started?
We sure can.
Awesome. Well, I see a lot of familiar faces here, and I'm so happy and grateful that you're coming already. So I appreciate that. But I do want to give a quick demo of what Real Estate Conversations is about. It is about the language of real estate and knowing what to say, when to say it, and how to say it. But I also want to say that it's more than just showing up and learning the language of real estate. It's also about building habits. I believe that there's 3 things that real estate agents need to do every single day. And that's number 1, scripts and dialogues. Number 2, lead generation. And number 3, go on appointments. Other than that, once a week, you should be practicing contracts and knowing that in and out. So with that, people log in every single day to our scripts and dialogues from 8:30 to 9 o'clock every single day. We're pretty much start on time at 8:30. I really kind of wait about 5 minutes before everybody gets in. And then we go for about 20 minutes and then we wrap it up with about 5 minutes of discussion. So it is the consistency of practice that leads to credibility, which leads to trust. So if you know your words, people are going to tend to want to work with you a little bit more on that note. I'm going to share my screen if that's okay. And do I have that ability? Yes, I do.
Go for it,
Sure do.
All right. So does everybody see my screen here?
Yep.
Yes, we do.
Perfect. So the first thing that I kind of want to show is after you log into the system, you'll be taken directly to the dashboard. There are multiple ways of seeing what we do every day. But what I think that is going to be most helpful is when you click on this little button here, it's going to take you to how we practice every single week. So this is modeled after my book called 52 Weeks of Real Estate Scripts Practice. And for example, we are on week 34. And if you look at all these different categories, and I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see those, we do lead generation every other week. And lead generation can talk about expired leads, FSBOs, open houses, sphere of influence, referrals, vendors, all different types of things, including social media. All right. So we do that every other week because that's the number one thing that a real estate agent should be doing. We also work on objections for both buyers and sellers. We work on words and phrases, primarily like how Phil Jones teaches it in his book, Exactly What to Say. We talk about transactions in the process of the transaction. So when we're doing a seller transaction or a buyer transaction, we're walking you through preparing the buyer, negotiating the offers, closing the deals, things like that. And from there, we're also working on the presentation. So we have buyer and seller presentations. And if you're new to the business, or if you've been in the business a while and you don't have a presentation, well, we have presentations for you that you can just adopt, put your name, DRE number, your logo, and you can have that. But just to kind of show you how it works, this is week 34. We jump into lead generation. It's pretty simple and straightforward. Today is Wednesday, and we come in on Zoom, and we log in. You click here for this script, and today we practice calling your sphere and asking for business and referrals. So here's the way it works. I set up the scenario, read the requirements, we set the intention for the script, and now all we do is we practice the script. So this is the agent starting out the conversation. Just a quick point, if it's an objection, typically we'll have the other partner starting the objection, and then the agent will then answer the question. So we'll be, we go back and forth. These are prompts that your partner will be prompted to say. I don't like to tell you exactly what to say because usually nobody responds exactly how we write it. So we just kind of prompt you in these different scenarios. So we work our way through the whole script. And then we have a section called Your Thoughts. And if we have time, or if you have time to go back through the system after we're finished, then you can go back and reflect and ask yourself these questions. One thing that I want to point out is that occasionally we will record, we record all sessions, not occasionally, we record all sessions. And when they are recorded, and I'll go to the seller presentation for this week, because every Monday we work on a presentation, whether it's a listing presentation or it's a buyer presentation. We alternate, and we have multiple things that we talk about. We have the full listing presentation, the story brand, if you know Donald Miller and his book, Building a Story Brand. We have the interview sheets for both buyer and seller. We have a quick listing presentation, the different steps, 17 steps for sellers, 15 steps for buyers. If you have more or less, you're welcome to adjust it accordingly. And we also have a presentation, and I'll pull that up just so that you can kind of see what this is all about. If you don't have a presentation, well, here you go. It's already done for you. So all you have to do is download and use it. I do have a folder section here too. These are more or less like resources, so that you can go ahead and, if you have an appointment with a buyer or a seller, here's what you put in it. Okay, so just kind of give you an example, a letter to the seller, you should have this, here's a letter to the seller, use it. All right, if you don't like it, change it, revise it, rewrite it, however you want, but know that it's there, and this is sort of a model that you can use. But that's how Scripts and Dialogues works, and we do record all sessions. Everything is turned into a podcast and embedded into each script. So if you want to re-record, re-listen, and go back and follow the script and dialogue, then you're welcome to do that. Lastly, I want to show you, if you're not already a member and your office is a partner with us, and all you have to do is remember the code KW197, all caps, no spaces. You'll go to register as an agent. Okay. You go to register, you type in KW197, and everything will turn into 0. And all you have to do is fill in this information, and that gives you access to the system. And you'll then start to receive daily reminders and notification of what the script is for today. With that said, is there anything that I need to cover, or does anybody have any questions for me?
I think that was awesome, Darren. I really wanted everybody who hasn't been there to be able to see what it looks like and feel it, and then understanding that all that collateral is in there. It is not protected. So, I mean, it's protected, like you have to have the account, and we have the account for you to have it set up, but that's all in there, and it's editable and customizable for you. So again, it's a baseline, like take what you need, don't take what you don't need. And he shares every day the topic that's coming for the next conversations class. He does say scripts, I say conversations, and that's okay. We can agree to do our own thing there. The topic coming out. So for example, if it's a day where it's expireds and you're never going to work expireds, you just don't need to go that day, right? You always know based on the schedule what's coming next. So everybody has that resource available. If you have any questions, holler at somebody on the leadership team and we will be happy to connect you. I want everyone to see that Darren is a real human and he's here to help and he's super passionate about this. So thanks for being here today, Darren. You're welcome to hang out if you're staying, and I'm sure we'll see more people dialing into your awesome efforts soon here.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. And just to add one more thing, if expireds or open houses isn't your thing, that's okay. Still come and practice scripts, because you can pull little nuggets from each one and just hear things. I mean, an open house script might apply to a different scenario, and you can always change the verbiage here and there. But yeah, I will be staying for the whole thing. I'm going to log out, log back in with my phone, because I got to listen in from now on. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Darren.
Thank you.
All right, y'all. We are going to keep this ship rolling along. Maybe it's a train rolling along, whatever. We're going to keep going. We have our market of the moment, and today's market of the moment is really important, and it's a share. So do not tune out at this moment. In fact, tune in. We are coming out of Mega Camp last week. There's so much to share. It's literally somebody on the mastermind said, what's the most important thing to share? To me, there's like 1,000 most important things, so that's not really answerable. I did start running the Daily Spark. That's a morning 8 to 8:15 a.m. I'm sharing, teaching one implementable thing in your business. every morning. You'll see drops of it on Facebook. It's being recorded and sent out as well. We're going to work to give you all the information we've got. And yet there is this really important piece that I want you all to see, this video that was created, and just observe it. And let me make sure I press the share sound button. Don't go that route again, and take it in for our market of the moment here.
We are not normal people. Normal people wouldn't choose a career like this. The highs and lows, the go, 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 all out, all the time. You know the way normal people act when they've had too much coffee? We wake up that way. And then we actually have coffee. We smile. We're positive. We're encouraging. We're full of energy and enthusiasm. And never say die. And onward to the next listing. And we'll find that perfect house. We'll find that perfect buyer. It's out there. It's out there. It's out there, I promise. Don't worry. I'm here for you. I'm here for you. Let's do an open house. I understand you don't want to drop the price. No, of course it's not too early to call. No, it's not too late to call. Sure, I can do that. Sure, I can do that. Sure, we can do that. Because we can do anything. And we love it. But it's exhausting. Of course, we can't show that because we're not normal people. And that's even more exhausting. We chose this career for one simple reason. We're all crazy. We're the people that encourage normal people when the housing market is slow. We're the ones who keep their spirits up when they get down. We make them happy. Our success comes from their success. And that's what makes this crazy. Our success depends on things we can't always control. Sometimes the planets have to be in alignment. And make no mistake, we're out there moving those planets. We move heaven and earth for our clients. And we make it look easy because that's what we do. But when we run into things we can't control, it makes us crazy. Sorry, crazy-er. A slow market is a slow market. We charge the storm because we're KW. But the thing is it's going to be wet. There's going to be lightning and thunder and 1,000-mile-an-hour wind. And it's going to be hard to keep going because somebody said if we charge the storm, that's the fastest way. And that's true. But this storm is huge. And we're wet and we're exhausted. Sometimes we're only smiling on the outside. We get tired of being positive all the time. And so we rest. We recharge. We do something weird that makes us feel all strange inside. We actually take care of ourselves. Take a class, a course, level up, plus your games and strategies, study the models, skip the coffee and go straight to happy hour. Let one of your cell phones go to voicemail every now and then. Take another class, coaching, training. Talk to people. Talk to people you don't have to sell. Who you don't have to encourage. You don't have to convince that things are normal. Because they're not. But don't ever let yourself start to believe you're like anyone else. Because that's not you. That's not us. We're crazy people running through a storm who think we're bison. Why did the bison cross the storm? To get to the other side. And the weird thing is, to everyone in this room, that makes perfect sense. Because we are not normal people.
All right. Oopsie. Look at me driving all the things at one time like a real champion. All right. I saw so many people actually staring at the screen. Nice work, y'all. That was shared in the room at Mega Agent Camp. And I'm just seeing all the comments. It was so meaningful. And I love that Corinne said, like, I feel seen. I keep sharing it with different groups in different ways because of exactly what Corinne said. Like, we want to be mindful of our words and our energy. And I want people to understand that like Keller Williams would not put money behind marketing behind that video. Somebody said like, what's the purpose? I'm like, I think the purpose is to say, we see you, right? So understanding that whatever you're feeling right now, it's not normal. It is normal. It's normal that it's not normal. That's on the YouTube channel. Go back to it as much as you'd like to. In the ALC meeting yesterday, some agent said, every time I see it, I see something different and relate to something different. I just want you to know that it exists there. And to me, that was the most meaningful market of the moment conversation to bring to y'all, even amid the changes that have happened this past week. So without further ado, I would like to bring on Amy and Maria to talk about the never-ending referrals that we're hosting this Friday for this amazingness in the Market Center. Go ahead, ladies.
All right. So I think this is really timely considering that we have Dave Norberg presenting to us on Friday afternoon. Maria and I are going to facilitate a new to us program called Never Ending Referrals. And we are just facilitating this so that we can all be accountable to one another in regards to working our database. That's really the key of this program. What our intention is to meet for about a half an hour on Friday. I know that the calendar is blocked off for an hour and a half, but we probably won't need more than about half an hour. Basically what it is Maria and I want to work with anybody else that's interested in getting kind of diving deep into their database so that week by week, we'll learn different aspects of how to tackle our database, whether it's putting them into the DTD2 program and how to tag. The next week, we'll get new instruction on activities to engage in. What's great about this is that it's not bold where we have quotas. We all are going to work within our own pace and our own goals. So we would love it if you guys could join us on Friday at 1:30, immediately following Dave. We would like to meet together as a group every week to learn what our activities are for the following week so we can hit the ground running on Monday. So anybody that wants to participate, please come. We'd love to just be there for each other, hold each other accountable, and learn the database activities together.
Can we Zoom this too?
We did not set up Zoom. I think we're going to do an in-person only, right? Anything for you, Maria? Did I miss anything?
No. Again, it's all about accountability, but you're the person that's going to make the goals. We're not going to tell you, okay, you have to reach 20, 30. If it's 3, great. You only need one person to get that deal done. So just remember that. And we're all just trying to help each other. That's it.
Take advantage of this opportunity, y'all. You have Dave Norberg and following it up with Amy and Maria leading you through. Ignore the fresh quote conversations in the chat. There's no charge for this. Amy and Maria are leading you through and leading themselves through to set yourselves up for an amazing fourth quarter and 2025. Come Friday, bring yourself with your open mind and just get ready to go. You don't need any more information than that. Thank you, ladies, for being amazing leaders and ALC members and leading from the front on this. I'm super happy to have you. Jacqueline, let's go with Escrow Partners.
I am very excited to recognize Sam and Yanni. You guys, if you come to these meetings, are not going to be surprised by those two names. But the reason I wanted to bring them as our spotlight this week is because they came about partnering with Escrow Partners in a way that's different from a lot of our client base. They came on the buyer side. And when they wrote on a transaction, they were on the buyer side. They spoke to the listing agent as they were in negotiations, and that listing agent was open to the idea of opening with Escrow Partners. I will be honest, in the end, that buyer did not complete the transaction. They went on and worked with that buyer separately. However, what did happen in the course of that is that the listing agent they introduced us to reopened escrow when the property found the appropriate buyer and is now getting ready to close this week with that next buyer. So thanks to Sam and Yanni, they were able to introduce us to somebody outside of our universe that we probably wouldn't have met otherwise. And that's a really big deal. So we wanted to say thank you to Sam and Yanni for making that introduction. I also don't want to be remiss if I leave out Erica Stoddard. She also just recently did the same thing and introduced us to somebody, even though she wasn't the listing agent. So I just wanted to say thank you to Sam and Yanni, thank you to Erica. And what they did is they made me think in a different way. And this is something that Ashley and myself and Nicole and Christine at Escrow Partners have been talking about. So on the next slide, we've come up with a new program because of the success that we had with Sam and Yanni. So what we will be doing is coming up in the next few weeks and working out the final details, making sure everything's legal and ready to go for you. We are going to have something that you can include from the buyer's agent side. So what we are working on is that if you are a buyer's agent and you're negotiating with a listing agent and trying to get your clients into escrow, we are going to provide you some kind of offer. I will probably be turning that into a marketing flyer so that you have something tangible that you can send that listing agent. But what we are doing right now is coming up with that offer that will hopefully save both your buyer client and the seller client a little bit of those escrow fees. So that as you're coming in as a buyer's agent, we're giving you just one more tool. We all know things change on the 17th, and this is sort of a new way that we're all charting forward. And this is going to be a new tool in your toolbox. So you will have that flyer and have that ability to tell the listing agent that you're trying to save both your clients some money. So keep an eye out. I will continue to bring you updates. And when I have that finished flyer ready to go for you, you know I will be blasting that out to all of you. But thank you so much. They helped kind of change everyone's thinking on this. And I will also give some credit to Mark Miller because he sparked that idea for us. So big team effort here. Thank you all so much. The other piece before I log off on this topic, when you go in and download your templates, you can have escrow partners in there. If you just leave it as escrow partners, we will be alternating between Nicole and Christine on the escrow side. If you have a specific escrow officer that you use, so you already have a relationship with Nicole or you've already met with and would like to work with Christine, just write in their first name there so that we know on the escrow partner side who we should be assigning that escrow to. It's as simple as that. Otherwise, both are very talented escrow officers and will help you out.
Thank you, Jacqueline. For the sake of time and market stats that everybody is waiting to hear, our friends at Movement, Eddie, Matt, and Amanda have agreed to let us pass over their conversation today. And Nikki is also giving back her time for Commercial Corner. If anybody has any specific questions for them, holler in the chat box and get that going. And Nikki will share anything that's meaningful in there as well. Alicia, let's cruise through our coaching celebrations.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, maybe something weird happened with the screen share though.
I'm in the training center.
We hear you perfectly fine.
Hi. Okay, we have some slides and I have like 10 people in the room with me that I'm going to make some people stand up.
Woo!
Sam, where's Yanni?
Yeah.
Oh, you can see him on me. So just find me and he's back there. So they ended up closing escrow with a buyer who was using the California Dream for All program. It was a 14-day escrow. And I don't think that these people would have even probably been able to purchase property in Southern California without using that program. So yay. And then our next one, Katie is here. You can stand up. Stand up, Katie. I don't know if she's on her screen. But Katie, come over here. So Katie had her first buyer's consultation and it went swimmingly and she got her first BRBC signed. And then with Coach Deborah, Gaga ended up closing escrow with her buyers and capped in growth coaching and is earning a couple months of free coaching with Coach Deborah.
So many awesome celebrations. And I heard in Capper Academy, we had a few other people getting that Dream for All done. You guys, that is literally life-changing, wealth-building magic that's happening. So thank you to our Movement friends for pushing it as soon as it was coming out. Thank you to our agents for listening and following advice and diving in to help people. I got choked up when I was talking to all the Capper Academy people about how many people were getting that done. Like life-changing, wealth-building amazingness. What we do is no light task, and you're literally helping people get into the places where they celebrate life, death, success, failure, joys, love, and all the things. So awesome, awesome job. Property pitches are going to go in the chat because we are going to give Ashley all the remaining time for market stats. Take it away, Ashley.
unmuted. Here we
You are
go.
unmuted. Yeah.
All right. So let me share video. And I just noticed I did not actually put the date in for the holiday we're going to be celebrating 90 days from now. But that would be actually November 19th. And November 19th, I was going to do Thanksgiving, but Thanksgiving's at the end of the month, like really end. It's November 28th this year. But 90 days from today is November 19th, which is National Entrepreneurs Day. And I thought this was so appropriate for the current time we're in, because even though you may affiliate with a company, you all are entrepreneurs. And the quote that was attached to this graphic just spoke to me for this moment in time, which is some people don't like change, but you need to embrace it if the alternative is disaster. And not that it's disaster in our industry, but for some people, the changes that just happened Saturday and they're going to continue to change, it is going to result in disaster of their careers, because they're not willing or able to get the information that they need or do the things that they need to do to be innovative in a new space. And I know that isn't this group. You guys are the real entrepreneurs. Sarah, thank you for sharing that video about we're not normal. We're not. I think everybody can resonate with that on some level, probably especially so at Metro. But anyway, 90 days from today, National Entrepreneurs Day. And I always put a holiday 90 days out because that's the natural real estate cycle. What you're doing today is going to show up in your pocketbook at 90 days from now. So another it was startling to me. I know I mark time every month by doing stats, but I did this on Monday with some leftover COVID in my system and went, oh my God, we're in November. I mean, as the real estate cycle goes, we are already in November. So we should all wake up and go, we need to run fast through this third and fourth quarter. All right. I also added something new. Sarah had asked me to add specific to Metro, to our market center. What are we doing? What are some of the places? Where are some of the places that we're exceeding the overall market right now? And we have a report called the multi-year trends, where we can go back all the way back to the beginning of time for San Diego Metro and see how we rate year over year. And I was thrilled to see that this July, we are outpacing last July and actually last year in listings taken, which what a great time to be doing that. As the buy side might get a little wonky, here we go with upping our market share on the listing side. And look at that listing volume. Over double what it was last year, and year to date, 20% increase. So for the agents that are representing listings, you're giving yourself basically a 20% raise, because the volume translates into the gross commission income, right? If we're making a percentage of that. And then our average sales price at the market center, just our market center, is up 12% year over year, which is outpacing the overall market in San Diego. Okay? So those are where we are currently winning as an agent body. All right. So here's what has really, I think, I'm going to say dramatically changed so far in 2024 in the San Diego market. Our listing inventory is becoming unstuck, meaning we are listing a lot more property than we have in the past 2 years. Year to date through the end of July, we have listed 23% more units than we did last year. That's a lot. That's a significant increase in listings coming to market. And it's translating in a slightly higher number of solds. Our absorption rates are actually picking up speed. So when we get to that slide, we were slower the first half of the year than we are the second half. So we should likely end the year with, I would guess, 7 to 10% more solds than we had last year. And again, that's significant. Right now, we're at the end of July, we're just sitting at 2.2% more closings. However, the trajectory is picking up, and you'll see that in a few minutes. And the other thing to look at here is how quickly our price points are moving up. right? We've talked about the last several stat meetings that sub 400 property in San Diego will be a thing of the past. The entire year, we've only listed 497 properties total in San Diego under 400,000. That's condo and single family. That's pretty crazy. Okay, as of this morning, so these numbers are fresh as of this morning. This is our housing inventory for houses as of today. Over $1 million, there are 910 active listings for houses. 683 are in pending status and 611 closed in the last 30 days. If you look at that for the 21st of August compared to the 16th of July, what do you see? So this should be the first indicator that our trajectory is going, in terms of sold listings, is going faster. We only sold 570 through the July, and then 611 through August. So that's actually significant increase, and not as significant, but over $1 million. We've sold a few more. Okay, here's condos. Pretty steady, except for the solds. Look at that sold gain for condos last month. In the last 30 days, 25% higher than the month previous. That's kind of cool. All right. Now, what's interesting is because our affordable, and I'm going to use the word affordable, inventory is just disappearing because everything that was affordable is now going into the higher price points. We're underperforming in terms of listings brought to market in everything under 800,000, meaning that over time, we're just not going to have that entry level and mid-tier market. Everything is pushing up into the next, and by the way, pretty quickly into the next price points. Okay. Look, it caught my eye just because the disparity from last year, which is the red bars, to this year, which is the yellow bar. Look at the $1 to $2 million price point. How many more properties have been listed this year than last? And the reason that number is so much higher is because some of those properties were in the $800 to $1 million price point, and now they're in the $1 million to $2 million price point. Okay, so it's just ticking up. Okay, we are outpacing in terms of solds in all those higher price points. Basically, the absorption rates are still really high. If we're listing it in the county, for the most part, it's selling. Where the yellow bar is lower than last year, so 400 to 600 to 700 to 800, it's because we don't have enough listings to sell to keep the sold numbers on par with last year. But we are picking them up in the higher price points. So it's keeping our number of sales overall higher than it was in 2023. That should be a really good indicator for you guys that we have come through the hardest part of the San Diego market. The hardest year I think most of us will ever have seen was the last 12 months. Going forward, it's actually going to get better. Okay, and there's the listings per price point compared to last year. Again, that $1 million to $2 million just poof. And sold follows the same trajectory because we're absorbing at a really high level still. Okay, now this is the old price points. If you've been with us for a while, I used to do a breakdown that was with every slide in these particular price points. I stopped doing that because it was a lot of space for a really small amount of sales. However, I know most of your buyers are going to be looking in much smaller price points than I now define on all the rest of the slides. So these two, this slide and the next one, is just a snapshot in time. As of this morning, if you have a $600,000 house buyer, they have 90 properties in the entire county to look at. That's all that's available. This was in June. So we're going to talk today a lot about the inventory kind of building up. And the language that most people in our industry locally is using is like it's a bad buildup where we're going to crash. We are not going to crash. If I go back one slide, the numbers of available inventory are significantly more than they were 60 days ago. However, they're still not that high. Okay. All right. And then this is last month compared to this month. So July is the first slide there, and August is the second. Really, the only buildup we've seen is 950 to 1.5 million, and it's not that significant. Okay, and then condos. Again, my eyes go to the available condos under $400,000. There's less than 110 in the entire county. That's crazy. I would guess that just within our market center, we could probably sell all those under 400,000. Just our office. This was June, so a little bit different, not dramatically so. And then this is last month compared to August. A little bit of fluctuation, no dramatic buildup, because again, we're still absorbing the sales. In fact, our absorption rates, if you were to compare last month with this month, every single price category except for 6 to 700 has inched up in absorption, meaning it's moving faster than it was in June. The 6 to 700,000 stayed completely steady. There really was no change. Oh, I should have. There you go. That was last month. This is this month. When you get this, Evie already sent these out. You can look at those side by side and see where the market is just picking up speed, which, by the way, is unusual in July. Typically, we see a little bit of a slowdown in July and August. We are not experiencing that. So I believe this is the second year in the row, by the way. I believe we've seen seasonality shift forward a little bit in San Diego County, meaning we will slow down later in the year than we have historically. At least that's what the last 2 years have told us. Meaning you still have the opportunity to do a lot of business between now and the beginning of the fourth quarter. All right, new listings. The next several slides to me are exciting and again show for me that we came through the trough. The trough was the last 12 months. Now we're coming out on the other end of it. Look at the trajectory of our new listings just over the last 12 months. Almost every month, they're outproducing 2023. And for those of you who have been with us for over a year, there was a period of time where I was really concerned we would run out of things to sell. I believe that was January 2023 when we had half a month of inventory. And you cannot possibly close listings that aren't listed, right? So the fact that we're listing more property, we should all be very, very happy about that. And this is before what I think is going to happen in September, the rates come down. Can you all imagine if our listing trajectory is like this, the demand is still there, and those rates come down in September, how much opportunity is going to be out there for all of you? Those people who have just been waiting, if the rate comes down in the 5s, I think you all are going to have hair on fire busyness. Okay, here's the active listings. Just going back to July 2020 to show we're not seeing a tremendous buildup in inventory. The percentages year over year sound terrifying. We're up what 40% over last year. Well, if we just use the 40% number, somebody could use that to message that obviously we're going to have a crash. When you look at where we actually are in the overall market, we're not headed for a crash. We're just headed for some more sales. Quick live question though, how many of you, and you can just raise your hands or if you want to chime in, How many of you are seeing buyers be a little bit more picky because they can be? That's what we see. That's really all we're going to see. They may take longer to sell, days on market are up, and that's primarily because buyers are going, you know what? I'm not going to make a decision. Let's come back and look at that next week. Versus some of the markets we've come through where buyers knew if they didn't make an offer the day they saw it, they weren't going to get it. The market isn't that fast right now. So it's actually more comfortable. Pendings are following the same as the listings. They're going up on the trajectory line. We had a little bit of dip in houses for July. However, I'm keeping an eye on it in August, and those have come back. The next slide, I was telling Sarah yesterday, I really had to dive into the data here because look at how many more solds we've had compared to the months prior. It was the first time in over 2 years, actually, that we've gone above 2,000 properties sold. It was almost 2,100 properties sold in July. Well, we couldn't forecast that, meaning I had no idea that was going to happen because the pendings in June didn't show us that the closings in July would be that high. What that means is a lot of those 2,000 properties closed escrow in less than 30 days. They were very short closes, like that 14-day close we just talked about. Okay. So that tells me if you haven't done a fast deal, less than a 30-day close, you may get ready for it because they just spiked last month. No real reason for it. I can't determine why, but it was a significant amount. My guess is 25 to 30% of the properties that closed escrow in July were less than 30-day closes. Median sales price dipped, just month over month it dipped, but look how high it is for condos. The median is the half of the properties that sold are above that price and half of the properties are below that price. So the blue line is houses. Half the houses in San Diego County that closed in July were over 1,052,000 and half were under that. And half the condos were over 700,000 and half were under. To me, what's more important is to look at the last 10 years. So going back to July 2014, our median has gone up by a minimum of 10% a year. So if you've got somebody who's saying, well, we're just going to wait. If the election's coming, we don't know what's going to happen. We're just going to wait. Well, doggone it. Every single month somebody waits, they are literally giving up money. Because from the moment, and are there month over month little dips here? Yeah, but look at the trajectory of that. Essentially, every month you own a piece of real estate in San Diego County, you're making money. You are appreciating. Certainly every year. Just year over year, you've made 5.8% on your money if you just bought a house or a condo last year. 9% actually if you're looking at condos. Average going the same way. So this July 2024 marks the highest average and median condo price ever seen in San Diego County. What that means is our highest is now the new floor. It's only going to go up from there. Now we've had a little dip in the on the housing price for houses. It's going to come back up. It was just a blip of 2 months. This time next year, we're going to be way over 1.3 million, 1.4 million. There's no way around it because the inventory problem and shortage that we have is not going to fix itself. Okay. Median active market time. It is up. And this to me is less about the price and what we're asking and more about the fact that buyers have more options. So when buyers have more options and they're not pulling the trigger on the first viewing, that makes your active market time extend. It's still not out of, if you go back 10 years, there's been many times we've been over 18 days. The reason I don't on this slide usually mark all the different Julys or every year back. What I wanted you all to notice is if we're at 18 days now, which is going to feel like a lot to some of you, July typically is the lowest month in the third and fourth quarter. So our days on market is going to go up through the end of the year. So we may get to 24 days, we may get to 30 days, but it certainly will go up, especially now that we have more listings coming on the market. So don't be surprised if we get to October and you're going, oh my God, I'm on the market a month. Yeah, we should probably anticipate that. Month supply stayed completely steady with last month. We've got 2.5 months of supply for houses, 2.7 months of supply for condos. And that means if we stopped listing property today, we would sell everything by the end of the year easily. I did put on here, and it was January, it was 2022, not 2023. We literally had 2 weeks of inventory. That's how fast the market was moving. And how many of you were in the sales business at that time? Life was incredibly unpleasant. You had to be on 24/7. You had to see a house pretty much the day, if not the first half of the day it was listed, to even have a shot. And you were competing with 20, 30, 40 offers. As a listing agent, you were having to review that many and present them. That's unhealthy. And yet, so where we're at now, it's a much healthier environment and so much more opportunity because your buyers do have options. You have negotiating room, which we didn't have back then. You were giving away your firstborn to get an offer accepted. Now we can at least negotiate on behalf of our buyers, which, by the way, thank God, because now we have to negotiate our own value for our buyers. And it's easier to show your value if you can actually negotiate the property price and terms. And then average list price compared to sales price, really, really healthy. If we could stay in that 97 to 99% forever, that would be a really healthy place to be. In the January 2022 through that summer, we got up to 107%. That was incredibly unhealthy. So we're good indicators on a healthy market. And then the price per square foot. I know when we look at the median and average, I always show you how much appreciation we've had. This is, because it has fewer zeros, a little bit easier to look at in my opinion. So another note I put in here, if you own a house and you bought that house 10 years ago, look how much money you've made per square foot of that house. And likewise of a condo. So we've more than doubled what a square foot of real estate is worth in San Diego County in a 10-year period. So if our, who wants to play with me? Karine, can I pick on you just because I see you? So you're right there.
You bet.
And this goes to the talking point if you're waiting, if you have buyers waiting, use this slide. So if I buy today and I spend $668 per square foot on my house and it doubles in the next 10 years, which everything that shows that we've seen the last 10 years, it likely will double. How much would that be in 10 years? 668 times 2.
668 times 2. So you're making me do math here live. Okay, can I pull out my, so it's 1213.
You're doing that in your head. I'm getting my little,
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
6 and 6 is 12, so 68. That's 120, and 16 is 138. 1200.
Oh, you're so close. $1,336
right.
per square foot.
36. 1336. Yeah.
So that's likely going to happen, guys. This is not. If I were talking to people in South Dakota and telling them this, they would think I was smoking something. But everything that we can see historically, year over year increases, by the way, more than 10 years. This goes all the way back to 2010. But just in this 10 years, we're going to double in the next 10 years. And then what if it doubles again? Because it likely will. So that 1,336 goes to $2,672 per square foot 20 years from now. How long are most mortgages? So you want to do that math one more time? Because by the time somebody pays off their house, how much money are they making? And yet, oh, I want to wait. I want to wait. We can show the data that proves this is what is happening, because even in 30 years, we're not going to make up the inventory shortage in San Diego. Not going to happen. I want to pause there because the first time my brain went through this arithmetic and I just went, oh my God, we're doing such a disservice to people if we don't show how fast these numbers get big, really big in terms of somebody's personal wealth. Anybody? Any comments? Or pushback? I'm willing to be challenged too.
It's true. You know, in 1996, I bought my house in Claremont for $168,000, sold it in 2005, less than 10 years later for 400 and something thousand. So yeah, for sure.
But I think logically go, well, it can't go much higher. Like people can't afford this. What's going to slow it down? And the people who can afford it are the ones who bought the property, who can now exchange it to go into the higher property.
Hey, Ashley, I'd be curious, and this is no judgment at all, but I'd be curious of agents in our office or even agents in general, how many of them don't own a property and why they don't own.
Across the industry, the number is really high. If like over 80% don't own. And I would guess it's the same reason most people don't own. They haven't saved the money to get into the market.
Well, I mean, it'd be, again, it's especially if they don't have a game plan to buy in 3 years, 4 years, whatever their game plan is, right? It's hard, I think, to sell someone on, hey, you should buy now if you don't have a game plan for yourself to purchase and even a 5-year plan.
I agree. I do agree with that. And maybe we should come up with just a little cohort that goes over that, because honest to God, it's as an agent, as anybody, but as an agent, and the income you need to qualify, right? And your self-generated income and the money you need to have set aside to be able to get into a house, it's a lot. It's a high bar. However, I'm not joking when I say if 10 of you got together and pooled your money to get into a house, why would you not? Because in 10 years, it's going to double. Like whatever it takes, you got to be able to get in and to Vinny's point, have at least a plan to get in. And maybe your first property isn't in San Diego anymore. Maybe it's somewhere else.
Well, I mean, it'd be probably a good marketing tool if you're showing your journey and being vulnerable with it. I mean, people that think they can't do it. Yeah.
100%. So it kind of excites me to get to the last data slide. So, well, second to last one. I don't know why, again, going through this month, I went, why have I not pointed this out before? When SDAR puts these two slides together, the monthly indicators and the housing supply overview, they're looking at national numbers and then comparing it to San Diego. So that's a blessing that we get, because every month we do get a snapshot of what's going on nationally. The median price in the country is $426,000. Remember, median means half of the properties in the country are above that number, half are below. San Diego's median is 2.5 times that. So yes, we're an expensive market. To Vinny's question, it is really hard to be a first-time buyer in this market, but the majority of the country, it's not. You can get in at $400,000. So there's plenty of opportunity out there. It's not the reason I highlighted this in here. The reason I highlighted this number in here is because we, as real estate professionals in San Diego, make 2.5 times more money than a similarly skilled, productive agent in almost any other market. This is why we, in general, are way lazier than agents across the country. I promise you don't do 2.5 times more work than the agent in South Dakota. Yeah, smart ass Vinny, I saw it. In fact, you probably do less.
It rains there.
Say again, Emily?
I said, yeah, and it rains and snows there.
Yeah.
Like, no, thank you.
We have
No, you know,
we have so many advantages here, and we make that much more money, or at least have the opportunity to. It is also an Achilles heel because it's pretty easy in comparison to hit your number, whatever your number is, versus having to do that in a market that has to be unit driven. Go ahead, Vinny. You were going to say something nice, and I stomped all over you.
No, you're good. No, I just remember talking to agents from like low price point areas and what they do, and you're just like, bro, your systems are yeah. Anyways,
well, they have to be.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I wouldn't suggest this, and it's certainly not replicatable because it was just a one-off. But there were 2 agents that were on a panel at Mega Camp, husband and wife, and it was just them. At the time, they had no assistant, no admin, just them. And I think she even had a job. She either had a job or was sick, one of the 2 things. But they had an investor client who recognized he was getting older and he needed to liquidate his investment portfolio. And so he said, well, considering what the market's doing, put 4 of my properties on the market and let's see what happens. Well, all 4, it was within the last year and a half, all 4 sold within a week. And he said, great, list the rest of them. They had to list 400 properties in 2 weeks. Yeah, I saw many of your faces. And I mean, these are not, they certainly had never had production at that level or anywhere close. And the husband literally pretty much stayed up 24/7, just inputting individual listings into the MLS. Guess what the price point, I know their team leader. Guess what their price point on those was? They averaged $180,000 each. So yeah, I don't care. I mean, that's a lot of units. They made a lot of money, but $180,000, 10% of what are basically maybe 12% of what our median price is. Now, transform their worlds. You close 400 listings in a year after only having closed 30. Your business is made in 1 year. But anyway, so here we go. And then the housing supply overview. This is where, again, even our own industry is going, inventory levels were up 50%. Yeah, but compared to what? We're still we're in a better place to sell real estate the second half of the year than we were the first, because we have stuff to sell. Now, where we're seeing more of that inventory buildup, and we've talked about this the last 2 staff meetings, is locally in our condo inventory, because of the different factors that are going on and the different laws that have changed, the different inspections that are required, HOAs that are insolvent. All those factors are coming together to soften that market right now. But it's also going to be short-term meaning 12 to 24 months, and that market will come back. So where we're seeing the majority of our inventory buildup is in the condo market. And it's still not that extreme. All right. Wow, that went fast. Let me stop sharing the screen, and I'll do questions real quick if you guys are still hanging out. Yeah, I can see you now. Y'all are too quiet. Somebody talk. And thank you for all being flexible. I still am actually testing positive for COVID, and I did not want to infect you.
John has his hand up.
Who? Oh, yeah, John.
I only have my hand up because I don't know how to put it down. So it's not real.
Okay.
I think
I'll
Vinny
do
has some questions.
Anybody?
What's the meaning of life?
What's the meaning of life? What I'll tell you, and you heard me earlier on this, Vinny, I think my challenge to all of you is going to be make this through the end of 2024, make this damn thing fun. Make it fun for you, make it fun for your clients.
Okay, here I got a question for you, just because no one's gonna ask a question. Can you give your boldest projection for what's gonna happen next year? You're probably gonna be wrong, but I'm just curious of your boldest projection.
In terms of what? Yeah, because
However you want to do it. Oh, the market. I think you already said the market next year we're gonna go up 10% or something like that, or something like that.
Well,
but I mean,
we're gonna appreciate. I mean, and I would bet almost anything that for the rest of my life, I'm 49. I hope I live to 89. For the rest of my life, we're gonna appreciate 9 to 15% a year in San Diego. And 9 will be on the low part. So yeah, I would say next year to be 10%. It'll probably be higher than that because if interest rates come down, demand and competition is going to go up and it's going to push those prices higher. So locally, yeah, I would say minimum 10% increase in value. I think we're going to sell a lot more units because there's been a lot of people sitting back and waiting for a few things, rates to come down, which looks like they're going to do, and this election to be over. And once the shell shock of whatever happens when the election wears off, which will be by January, February, people will be speeding through the market. The other thing, and Nikki brought this up, Stephanie, I'll come to you in a minute. Nikki brought this up on the mastermind that the world is in a very unsteady time. Take politics out of it locally, like in the United States, and just look at what's happening globally. We've got a lot of wars happening that we may be drug into, and we're in a military town. So in general, when we go into conflict, it does impact San Diego more than other places. From a real estate standpoint, it often means we've got service members who have to sell because they're being deployed. So there could be that in the mix. I hope not, but it could be coming, which again would increase the number of transactions that's happening here. As far as the industry, Vinny, I unfortunately think we're going to see a significant number of people that we know and care about be downsized out of the business. And I think in the next 12 months, I would not be surprised to see 30 to 35% of agents not survive. Stephanie?
So I know that you were talking about not being surprised if we see our listing sitting on the market for a longer period of time, but we are also talking about interest rates coming down, which in my mind means absorption rates are going to go through the roof. So how do we...
All I'm saying is both could be true, number one, and be prepared for that, because many of you on this call have not seen 30 days market time. It wouldn't be surprising when we just take the interest rates out of it for a second, because we don't know that that's going to happen. But based on the trajectory of where we usually are in July, every month past July goes higher in days on market. So I'm just looking at that historical fact.
Gotcha.
If interest rates come down, sure, if we could go back, God forbid, to 2 weeks of inventory, then your days on market are, excuse me, going to be less than a week again. I don't want that to happen. It could.
Okay. So just in your opinion, when talking to someone who's considering putting their house on the market, but thinks now is not the right time and they want to wait till spring or till after the slump, which we usually have in the first of the year?
We're
not really
seeing indicators on that. And I would use the talking point of, look, everything that from a government standpoint, they are forecasting they're going to lower those rates. If we can get on the market just as those rates go down, you're going to be positioned so well.
Okay.
That's awesome. The talking point I would use.
Cool. Thank you.
iPhone Kelly.
Oh, there. I finally know how to use technology. Hi, Ashley.
You can teach John.
Oh, that would be a lot of fun. Quick question. Would you, knowing that San Diego pricing is pretty high right now, would you recommend for us agent to pick up an investment property knowing that our home appreciation will be going up 9 to 10% a year, and knowing that our interest rates is on its downward trend?
Yes, I would. And I would also say, if you can't afford the San Diego market, go pick something up. For sure, I just don't see, as long as you've got a decent down payment, which you're going to have if it's an investment property, you are not going to lose money. You just can't. Now, there's other factors you have to look at. Are you looking at mellow roots? Make sure you cash flow. The thing that would be scarier for me than anything right now, because of where I live and what we're seeing, is the ability to get decent insurance for a decent price. That is a bigger threat, I think, than anything else, just in terms of unknowns.
Right. And I think, is it Karina put it where rent control is a big factor, because the LA market has a lot of rent control zip codes.
Yeah. That is true. And Peggy Walkush is on here. I was talking to another friend that's a property manager who said they will never manage in LA because each city has their different rent control measures and it's too hard to keep up with. We don't have that here yet. And knowing our city and county government, at least on the county level, they'll push back against stringent rent controls. So you just got to kind of know where you're putting your money. But long term, you're just not going to lose money in San Diego real estate because they're not making more of it.
And I think you're really dead on of getting, I can't remember, it's like a couple of weeks ago you mentioned single residence homes will be very unaffordable in the future. So get in.
Yeah. Those numbers that I just went through with Karine, if we double every 10 years, the number is astronomical. All right, kids. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for being patient with me, and have a fantastic week.
Thank you, Ashley.
See you all Friday. Don't miss Dave Norberg. It's an incredible opportunity. And then with the never ending referrals, that's awesome. Thank you for doing that.
Feel better.